So I posted that thing on Meridian Rapier yesterday about training slow. Instead of doing a bunch of lunges, doing 10 lunges right. I also am the person who's posted the 100 lunge challenge. So I realized that with that 100 lunge challenge, I should have also said how to do those right, and then you train 100 lunges correctly, and you get really good, really fast. So let's talk about how to lunge. All right, let's talk about the lunge. The goal is to cover distance as quickly as possible before your opponent can see you coming. It's not to cover as much distance as possible. I can do that by jumping through the air, but you've seen, the superhero movies where somebody's flying at their enemy and you wonder why that enemy doesn't just shoot them while they're there or reach out and punch them, or at least I do. You give your opponent lots of time. They see you coming, they get to hit you. So don't give them time. Cover as much distance as you can, as quickly as you can, but you don't try to cover all the distance. So we're trying to figure out the most efficient way to cover distance. And your body already knows how. Your body actually knows how to do a lot of the right stuff, and we just give it the wrong message. We give it the wrong command. We're thinking, I need to stab somebody, and that means I've got to generate power, and I'm going to jump, and I'm just going to push my sword through them. That's the wrong thing to be thinking. You want to be thinking, I need to get to point B as quickly as possible. And your body knows that. And it knows that if you're reaching out to grab for something, if you imagine that there's something falling and you're trying to catch it and you go, oh, here, and you catch it. Well, I've just ended up in a perfect lunge. Perfect, straight out of an Italian manual. It's not a upright, strip fencing lunge with a big step, but it's this, I've taken a smaller step, I'm leaning forward, my arm's straight out in front of me. Your body knows how to do a lunge. It just doesn't think of it as a lunge. So you train it to start thinking of a lunge as catching something that's falling. So Toki is over here, and you can't see her, but she's going to throw something for me to catch, and I'm going to catch it. She's going to do it again. Throw it short, throw it short. The hard part is, there we go. And this is a drill that you can do at your practice to just train programming your brain to think, instead of lunge, push sword through person, lunge, catch thing. If you want to get real fancy, you turn your back to them, and they throw it over your shoulder. So you don't even see them start. You can try to catch it. It trains reaction time, it trains in, tell your body knowing what it already knows how to do, trying to do it. But let's break that down to the individual pieces, because what you're going to do, like what Tom Leone said, you're going to train slow, you're going to train right, so you're going to make sure you're doing every single piece correctly. And also, training this to be safe. A well-done Italian lunge has safety built into it at a couple of key points. So instead of trying to ram my sword through somebody, I deliver it in such a way that when they charge at me, I can collapse back. The first of those pieces is in the elbow. So I'm in guard, and we'll talk about my bottom half in a second, but for now we're going to talk about the top half. I'm in guard, and I don't want to be thinking about my shoulder yet. I want to be thinking about my wrist and my elbow. Well, the way I hold my sword when I'm in guard, and the way you should, there's a straight line from my elbow to my point elbow to my point through my pommel. My forearm is locked into this line. It makes it stronger. It makes it much more stable. So I don't actually have to worry about my wrist. It's already at my opponent, but I need to worry about this elbow. Instead of thinking, lift my elbow up, in which case I raise my shoulder, and instead of thinking, trying to, jab this out there, you just think of, raise your elbow. Just straighten your elbow. That shoulder doesn't move. Your shoulder doesn't come up. Just elbow goes out. Elbow comes up until you're almost straight. If you lock out, you've just made this a very, very painful thing for your opponent to run onto. If you keep it just a little bit soft, run at me. Run, come on.
No.
She hits, and it pushes back. You were supposed to.
I'm not going to run onto a sword.
She's smart. I need dumber scholars. But come back here. The point is, if she's coming at me, she can press on this because my elbow's not locked out, and it gives. If I'm lunging at her, I can lunge, and when it hits, my elbow gives. My body keeps going forward, but she's not going to feel any extra hit, hopefully, because I've built in this point of collapse. It's a crush zone like you have in a car. Instead of locking your elbow out, just not quite locked out, but still almost straight. Again, that shoulder stays down. I've got my arm straight. If my shoulder comes up, my point drops and actually comes back towards me. I lose an inch. I don't want to lose an inch. Keep your shoulder down. Then my shoulders go into a line, right? You remember I was standing in guard like this, but when I went out to catch that thing, my shoulders ended up in this, straight line behind, from my hand, through my elbow, through my right shoulder, through my left shoulder, back over my left heel. This covers as much distance as you can. It extends your body towards your opponent as much as possible. So everything goes, elbow comes up, elbow, the shoulders twist into a straight line behind it, and I lean. I don't collapse, I don't curl. I keep my back straight, my head up where I can see my opponent. Not all the way up, but up where I can see. So back straight, and I'm just leaning out. If I curl, sword drops and it comes back towards me. I lose range. So I want to keep my back straight. So I've done all this. Then, instead of taking a giant lunge where I'm trying to spring towards something, like we were doing, like you saw when I was doing the reach, my foot just goes forward about 1 foot length, and I fall onto it. So this goes out, and there I am. There's my lunge. It's clean, it's efficient. I haven't gone up at all. I haven't wasted any energy going up. I've just gone completely forward, and the gravity's pulled me down a bit. I end, as you see, with my head at the level of my guard, which gives me an added bonus. If you're trying to stab me in the face, my guard is in the way. Hey, no, I'm not getting hit in the face. This is really good for me. To talk about the bottom half of your body for a second. The Italian guard has the hips pointed at a 90-degree angle from your opponent. If you watch most people when they're fighting, their feet are pointing forward. There's less than a 90-degree angle, usually at 45, and that points their hips at their opponent. That means I can take kind of a little bit of a step, but not much of a step, and when I do take that step, I'm going to be falling forward. My center of mass is going to be past my hips, and I'm going to fall, and then I'm going to have to catch myself, and then I'm charging at my opponent, and I'm the one who's really hoping they kept that elbow broken. Instead, if my hips are pointed 90 degrees to my opponent, meaning I've turned my feet more than 90 degrees apart, my right foot's pointed at my opponent, my left foot is pointed at my back wall here. When I take that step, my hips, my weight stays, even though I've got this lean going, my weight is behind my right knee. I'm not falling forward. I've landed, and I'm firmly anchored down to the ground like this. I go forward only if I want to. I don't want to. I want to go back. So I break my knee and I fall back. And I let gravity pull me back. I don't want to do a lot of work. I'm lazy. All the old masters that I know are. They don't like doing work. They let you do the work. I'm working towards that. So, efficiency is good. Don't fight against gravity. Don't fight against your body. Don't fight against your brain, which knows what to do. You just have to have it thinking the right thought at the right time. Okay, all of that said, point control is a myth. If you're thinking about where your point's going, you're thinking about the wrong part and it's too late. Your point is 40 inches away from your hand. You can't control it. And if you're thinking about where it is, there's a lag between how it moves and your hand. So you can move your hand, and then your point's going to go, it might go where you want it to. If you do everything in the sequence I just showed you, though, and really break it down to just hand before foot, you hit what you're aiming at. If I lunge hand and foot at the same time, I missed a heavy bag. It is 2 feet wide, and I missed it. My target is a little piece of tape right in the middle of it. If I extend first and go, I hit that little piece of tape. It's hard to see. It's that big. That's the target that I drill to hit. And that's a good sized target to drill on. So let's talk about drilling at home. Give yourself a target. Mine's a heavy bag. It can be a spot on a wall, spot on a door jamb. If you don't want to put dents in your wall, put, an inch of padding, and then put a piece of tape on top of that. And then drill slow. Drill that sequence I just showed you. Drill it super slow. So I extend with my elbow coming up, shoulder stays down, shoulders come into line, I lean into it, and I kick. And I end up in my lunge. And that's fast enough. It's Tai Chi. But what matters is that you're thinking about how each piece is moving, and you're making sure that it's moving correctly, so that when you do eventually take the hour to drill these 100 times a day, you're doing 100 correct, perfectly correct lunges each day. Not like 50-50, not even 80-20, 100 perfectly correct lunges. And then the next time your opponent comes to fight you, you'll lunge and hit them before they can tell you've moved. Because a clean, efficient lunge has no tells, and by the time they realize you've moved, your arm and body are extended, and you're 6 inches away from them. Before that signal gets from their eyes to their brain, your sword is here and about to hit them. That's the value of a nice, clean, well-trained lunge, and that's how you train it. Piece by piece, arm extends, shoulders, torso, step. Adjust your measure. Lunge from a little further out, arm, shoulder, kick. A little closer in so that you're adjusting, not taking the same size step each time. Shoulder, arm, shoulders, body. They're not quite a kick at all. Train each piece individually. Extend. Extend to target. Extend. Extend, add the shoulders. Extend, add the shoulders. Extend, add the shoulders, lean. Each piece. And I was going too quickly, but I don't want to make this too boring. Good luck. I hope you lunge and hit me before I realize what's happening the next time we fight.
Do the thing.
Do the thing, Toki says. Do the thing.